And welcome to the Dean Obeidallah show. And joining me right now, Kurt Bardella. You know him as he's actually current publisher of the Watchdog report. You saw him for years on cable. I was on MS with him countless times, on News Nation, other places. He was a spokesman and senior advisor for Republicans in the House Oversight Committee when he used to be a Republican. So, Kurt, nice to see you. Are you still a Republican at all?
No,
No, those
God,
are long
no.
gone.
Oh
So
my gosh. I actually think now we've reached a point where in my adult life, I've spent more time as a Democrat than a Republican.
that's great. No, because I know there was a time, and we've talked about it many times in the past, but I didn't know if you were like some of these people who are, I'm a Republican like Michael Steele, because I'm going to try to save the party. I'm like, I same years ago, he would tell me that. I'm like, there's no coming back to your party. Whatever you thought you had,
Uh,
it's not coming back. The trajectory of the Republican Party is to the right, which on some level, the director of the Democratic Party is to the left. But we're the left on policy, trying to help people. On the right, it's more of the far right, almost like the European parties. Though,
well, the thing for me and what it came down to, because I remember going through that decision making process, and here's the reality: we are for better or worse a two-party country. That's how the system is designed.
right,
Would I like that to change one day? Sure. Do I think it will anytime soon? No. And so it came down to one very simple, basic question: if you are pro democracy, you cannot be a member of the Republican Party. They withdrew from that experiment. They have completely abandoned it. And they show us every day in their words, in their aspirations, in the laws that they pass. I mean, even just, we could talk about it later, but like what I saw happen here in Dallas on Tuesday,
yeah,
uh, with deliberate efforts to, in my opinion, suppress, interfere the vote. If you believe in democracy, you cannot be a Republican, and that's what it really came down to. One to two parties in America believe in this republic and in this experiment, and it's a Democratic Party. And I can disagree with people on any issue. You can believe whatever you want.
sure.
That's the one issue that's intractable for me, just as an American citizen.
And that's great. And I want to talk about the big issues, the war, Chrissy Noman, everything. But you brought up what happened in Dallas, and we don't have the bandwidth as human beings to cover everything anymore because it's a fire hose of serious topics going on. But I was reading about that. Republicans changed the way you vote. You used to be able to vote
Yes.
at the county headquarters or the county center. People went there.
Anywhere in Dallas County, you
And
could
now,
vote.
so tell people what happened because it seemed the Republicans did it on purpose, saying it's going to give people more confidence in the system by making them go to their precinct. But in reality, it was disenfranchising people intentionally or not. So share a little bit
Well,
about how they changed the rules because this didn't get the press it deserves.
Well, and it really needs to, because all of this is a dress rehearsal for what they want to
Exactly.
do in the broader elections. And if you want to know how life would be if the SAVE Act became law, it's what we went through here in Dallas. It's not an accident, by the way, that they picked one of the largest Democrat counties in Texas to change the rules for and nowhere else. But really, last month, my wife logged on to the Secretary of State's website here in Texas to find out, okay, the law changed. You have to now go to a very specific location that's been assigned to you. Whereas before you could vote anywhere in the county, if you're registered to vote, you could cast your ballot there. That changed. The Secretary of State's website went to a dead link. Couldn't find out where to vote. That was last month. She would check it every few days. Every few days, same thing, dead link. 3 days before the election, dead link. Didn't tell us where to go. That website didn't have the accurate information available to anyone until I think noon on election day.
Wow.
And mind you, this is my wife, who is for the better part of her adult life voted Republican. By the way, she's a George W. Bush Republican. Um, the level of confusion and misdirection that we saw, where people would show up at polling places, get told to go somewhere else, they would go at that other place. Well, that's not the right place. Got to go over here.
Right.
No one knew anything by design. And when appropriately, the chair of the Dallas County Democratic Party filed to extend the voting window to make up for those people who weren't able to participate in the process, Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, who's on the ballot, by the way, not that that's a conflict of interest, files an injunction, gets a Supreme Court justice here in Texas, because you just need one to sign off and say, nope, that's null and void. Voting stops at 7. Separate the votes of anyone who voted after 7 p.m. We're not going to count those. Like, that's where we're headed here, folks. And if they can do that here in Dallas, and they can do that in Texas, one of the largest states of the union, it would be very easy for them to do that in Georgia, a swing
Mhm.
state area where the fate of the Senate could be decided, or in Maine, or in Alaska, or in any of the swing district states that are controlled by Republican attorneys general or Republican secretaries of state. That's how they mess with it. It's through the process. It's not that they're necessarily going to have an armed militia at every polling place.
Mhm.
Wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah,
Uh, but it's the process, the way in which they can manipulate whether you even know where to go to vote and can get turned away and not get the information in real time about where you're allowed to participate. Those are the choke points that they have on the process, and we saw that play out here in Dallas on Tuesday.
and it's such a great point because again, people saw Representative Crockett talking about people getting disenfranchised, and it wasn't James Tallarico's campaign that had anything to do with it. It was
No.
Republicans. So that's really important. So people don't have any kind of anger towards Tallarico. Republicans changed the rules, making it harder. And I did read the Texas Tribune, which is a great paper. It
Hmm.
went through the details of it. How Republicans, there was no fraud, but to satisfy people who thought there was fraud or just to rig the election, they go, we're going to suddenly change the way you vote. You can't go anywhere in the county. You go to one small precinct, one precinct. Good luck finding that precinct. And they did that on
Yeah.
purpose to make it hard. So they wanted to cause chaos and confusion in the Democratic primary because they knew it wouldn't affect the Republican primary. They told their
Right.
people what to do and try to cause dissension. So there's not a unified Democratic Party, but also as a test run for the fall to see what they can do to screw around. Because you live
Hmm.
in Texas. What I know, we don't know who the Republican nominee is even going to be, but the fact that Paxton's got to fight out with Cornyn and spend millions of dollars for the next few months, how much does that help Tallarico? Or are we overestimating how much it helps?
I think on a campaign, it's a big deal when you have one party who has an open runway ahead of them, and they get to spend their time and resources just making their case to the constituency directly, not having to fight anyone, versus the other party that's going to be fighting each other. And every dollar spent fighting amongst themselves is one less dollar they're spending fighting James Tallarico. And I think that is the environment that needs to happen for Texas to be truly competitive. You're going to need a little of a runway like that. We got 12 weeks until the runoff election. If Paxton, as he has vowed to do, stays in, even if Trump endorses Cornyn, the one thing we know about Ken Paxton that we've seen, this is someone who is void of any morality, any values, is selfish as they come. He will fight dirty. He will do anything he can because this is his last gasp of power. If he loses here, he's out of office. He's got nowhere to go. And so, Tellerico, meanwhile, just gets to go do the unity stuff, gets to focus on his message, continuing to reach out to people, and run a positive campaign. I think that's one of the things that can't be understated. Everything about James Tellerico and his messaging and his speeches and the way that he talked about the opposition, there's always a positive, bent on it.
Hmm,
Because he's inviting people, even if you disagree with them, to at least stay involved in the conversation. He looks at other people. You're not my enemy. Like I have nothing against you. You might believe
right.
something different. You might be a lifelong Republican. That's okay. That doesn't make you a horrible, evil, terrible, my enemy. Like it's going to take that vernacular, that vocabulary, to win in Texas, because you're going to have to get people to vote for you that have never voted for a Democrat ever in their lives.
And there's a lot of debate among people about who is it better in a hardball political analysis for Tallarico to be running against. And some say Paxton because he's flawed. And I'm not sure if I agree with that in a way because if Cornyn wins and it's close, I mean, is there a chance Paxton just tries to burn it all down? I mean, so tell us, and I'm not trying to give you the answer. I'm just trying to say, like, I can see different sides of it. Tallarico is younger than Cornyn by a great deal, at least in appearance. So there's that huge contrast there. That's kind of good. He's bringing a different energy. Paxton is going to bring some of the MAGA energy. Cornyn might lose some of the MAGA people. So when you look at it being in Texas, what do you think is the best scenario for Tallarico?
Yeah, here's the thing about Cornyn. This guy's been around forever.
Right,
He doesn't excite or incite.
right,
And I'm
right.
going to tell you something, man. In a midterm election, where we have seen in every election in which Donald Trump's name is not on the ballot, Republican turnout plummets, Republican enthusiasm plummets. No one in Texas is going to wake up on election day. You know what? I'm really motivated to go to poll today because I want to vote for John. I'm excited to vote for John Cornyn. No, he's routine. They've been voting for John Cornyn forever. It's an afterthought. There's no passion
Mhm.
behind. There's no energy behind it. And I also look at nationally, we have seen time and again now in generational contests where it's old versus new is winning a lot more than old. And I think that in spite of, I get the argument about Paxton. He's flawed, a lot
I
of
know.
baggage. Guess what? Everyone still knows that about him. And he's still within a stone's throw of the guy who's been serving forever. Like, people don't care. If people haven't figured out yet that in the world that we live in, by and large, in Donald Trump's Republican Party specifically, morality issues are an issue. Look at what the lengths to which these people are going to protect the Epstein class should tell you they don't give a shit, man. They don't care about, oh, if you slept with this person or you divorced that person or you said this and did that. They don't care about that. That's not the Republican Party that exists anymore. If it ever did, frankly.
I so appreciate you breaking it down that way because I know like I hear a lot of more of the mainstream pundit class saying, "Well, Paxton's flawed." I'm like, Donald Trump is a convicted felon. The guy incited a terrorist attack. He attempted a coup. He's adjudicated a rapist, and he won. And not just a Republican primary, he won across America the election. So, I mean, to me, I'd rather have the guy who gets no passion, no energy, and Cornyn. I hope he just beats Paxton by like 2 votes, and Paxton's
Hmm.
bitter and the MAGA people stay home and they go, I'm not voting for this guy. And then we pick up a Senate seat. As remarkable as that might seem. But so let's shift gears here. I appreciate you breaking it down for people being in Texas, being yourself, seeing firsthand what's going on. Today we got a horrible jobs number. I mean, they were jarringly bad.
Yeah.
The estimate was maybe 50,000 new jobs would be created last month. As people know, every first Friday of the month, we get a trailing month's jobs report. So it's supposed to be 50,000 jobs created in February. Instead, we lost nearly 100,000 jobs. Lost 100,000 jobs. Unemployment went up to 4.4%. For context, when Trump came in, we were at 4%. So unemployment's up 10% under Trump's watch. And there's deep concerns about where we're going economically, which affects the market a great deal. Plus, you've got the new global tariffs Trump put in effect this
Yeah.
week and gas prices going through the roof. This seems like the worst thing you would want if you're a party in control going to a midterm election.
Yeah, it's kind of this trifecta of economic doom and gloom like, you can't actually have a worse confluence of events come together
Right.
with, like I said, launching a war with Iran, therefore resulting in what will be higher gas prices for a pretty prolonged period of time. And mind you, too, for most of us here, like, hey, we're coming up on spring break. We're coming up on peak travel season. We're going to notice the gas prices went up. Because we're gonna have a lot of free time on our hands with our kids not in school anymore coming up here.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing, the tariffs, they are a tax. There's no other way to put it. Every company will tell you that they have passed off as much as they could of those tariffs onto consumers, raising prices of the product, raising shipping to get the product from point A to point B. That has been an economic nightmare. It's the reason why, for the better part of the last 50 years, Republicans were pro-trade, anti-tariff, because they realized it's a loser for the economy ultimately, and it's a loser for the consumer. So you have that. You have an extraordinary amount of people who have left the workforce and aren't even able to re-enter the workforce. That doesn't even get accounted for in these numbers month in and month out. The amount of just workplace complacency that is happening right now, of unemployment and underemployment that is
Mhm.
happening right now, like, these people have nowhere to go. There are no jobs, and that is more than anything that's happening with even in Texas here. When you look at the way that the Hispanic Latino vote completely did a 180 from where they were in 2024 and went Democrat this time, the number one issue, 8 out of 10 Hispanics who poll them, they say it's economy, it's
Yeah.
affordability, it's job opportunities that have been taken from them and are lost, perhaps generationally, given the immigration rate stuff that's been happening in places like Texas, particularly. But, like, all of that has created this perfect storm where there is no way out. Like, between now and November, economy's not going to get better. It's just going to keep deteriorating brick by brick by brick. And all Trump is doing, his economic affordability policy is either A, it's not happening. Don't believe your eyes and ears and your wallet. Everything is great. It's the greatest thing of all time. It's B. It's actually Biden and Democrats' fault. No
Right.
one's buying that anymore, by the way. That might have worked for the first 6 months of 2024 and 25, but no, in 2026, no one wants to hear that. And three, well, just get over it. Sometimes things are tough. Like, I mean, it's one of those three answers usually. And Republicans are and this is why you're seeing so many people leave office right now and not run for reelection. People don't generally voluntarily walk away from power if they think they have the advantage, if they think they're going to be doing more of it. They
Mhm.
leave when they know, uh-oh, this curtain's about to come down. We had a good run, but it's over. We're seeing there's a state rep seat that flipped in freaking Arkansas on Tuesday that went from R to D, like in Arkansas. Like, that's how bad the economy is right now.
It's to me, this is lining up. and I know people love to look at history, and I do too. The 2006 midterm, which George W. Bush's midterm, where Democrats won the House for the first time in 12 years. That's right, folks. Democrats did not control the House from 1994 to 2006. And the big shocker, they flipped the Senate. No one, if you read the articles leading in, no one expected that. And what was going on? You had a slowing economy, an unpopular president, an unpopular Iraq war. And you've got all three with Donald Trump. So again, a lot happened between now and November, although we're not that far. It's no longer we're that far from the midterms. Like we are in the midterms. We just had primaries. People are
Yep.
thinking about it. People want change. I mean, this is not the course anyone wants this country on. A slowing economy, higher inflation. Inflation, it's not just gas prices too. As everyone knows, when gas prices go up, everything else goes up because transportation costs to get your food to the store, they go up. An
Yep.
airline, United Airlines, just said they're going to cut into their estimates of earning for the next quarter. They just said it today. Their stock is way down because of oil, gas prices for the planes everywhere. Yeah,
Mhm.
and Trump is leading us into an abyss. This Iran war is one of the most dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. It doesn't make any sense to me from a political or national security point of view because, as Senator Warner, I had Representative Ballin on my show yesterday. From the briefing, she said, I can tell you there was no threat to not only the homeland, but to our interests as America.
Right.
Like, that's the remarkable thing. They did this war for whatever reason. And I know Netanyahu wanted it, but that's still, it's up to Trump to say yes. It's not Netanyahu saying yes. Do you have any idea why? It seems like you want to crash into the ground on purpose. It's awful.
Well, I mean, it's almost. I think a couple of things. I think the Supreme Court striking down his tariffs triggered in
Mhm.
him a need to show how mighty and strong he is. I think Trump is a textbook narcissist, and anytime narcissists come up with any kind of accountability, they lash out, they malfunction, they melt down, and they are desperate to show their strength because they deep down know that they're the opposite of that. So you have this combination of the Supreme Court telling him for the first time in his presidency, no, you can't do that. You have the Epstein stuff going on, coming out, and it's just this flood of horrific information reaching the public domain in a widespread way that not even the propaganda right wing media can contain. And it all looks horrible for Donald Trump because he's the most mentioned figure outside of Epstein and Maxwell in these files. And, it's like he is grasping at whatever visibility power he could possibly flex to show I'm in control. I'm in charge. Like, you can't stop me. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to bomb Iran. I'm going to take out their leader because I'm mighty. I'm tough. I'm all these things. And it's like, okay, I mean, sure, go ahead and do that. It's not going to win you any political currency here at home. In fact, it's going to backfire tremendously because we're going to spend $1 billion a day right now on this war
Yep.
that we
I
don't
saw that
have.
today. $1 billion a day, $900 million a day to $1 billion a day. Every day, folks, this bullshit game that Trump did for whatever reason. And again, look, I despise Netanyahu. He's a war criminal, but you can't hold Netanyahu responsible for asking Trump to do things. Trump said yes. If I was a leader of another country, of course I'd want the U.S. military to fight my battles. Who wouldn't want that? But a president, the leader of the United States, should say, well, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, maybe we'll drop a bomb for a couple of days like we did in the past, but we're not doing this. And now Trump said there's no end to it. Like, we're staying in the war as long as we need. And I heard yesterday CENTCOM said this might go to September. So now we're having responsible voice like Central Command saying, September, this is going to go right to the midterms.
Well, and also contrast that with all the things that we've heard from Republicans over the last 4 years about why we couldn't support Ukraine against Russia, why we didn't want to have military interests and assets deployed to stop what was happening over there. It's like, so if Israel asks us to, we're yeah, sure, whatever you need, you got it. When Zelensky asked us, as he was being attacked in an unprovoked land grab by a dictator, we were, that's too far. That's too much. We're not willing to do that. We like, that's your fight, not ours. It's like I would love these Republicans who have nothing to say about this situation, who for the last 3 or 4 years, every time a Ukraine funding bill came up to vote, were lambasting Democrats for standing by our Democratic ally. To now explain why all of a sudden we're supposed to do the same thing. We're supposed to give $1 billion of our tax dollars to support this campaign in Iran. Like, someone explain that to me, please.
Absolutely. It's remarkable to see this play out. look, I mean, Kurt, for you and everyone listening, take a step back. Look at the United States looks like on the world stage. You know, we did a coup grab in Venezuela. We didn't give the people freedom or democracy. We just installed a dictator who was pro-Trump, who gave him literally the oil. We're killing people in boats off the coast with no due process, no proof they're a threat to anyone, let alone the United States of America. You've got now Trump with a war in Iran that is slaughtering people there. We don't even know how many because we don't know the truth going on. I mean, how do we not look like Putin to the rest of the world? Like, how do we not look like we're a nation led by someone like a Putin, I'm saying, to the rest of the world? And
Listen,
we
we have
don't
no.
forget we threatened Greenland. We threatened
Huh.
Greenland, our ally. I mean, that was, and then he's threatening Cuba right now. Literally today, again, next we're going to Cuba. I mean, you've seen this story in World War II. We've seen other dictators and despots have the same ambition this guy. That's how we're viewed on the world stage, at least my view. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, we are the global bully right now. We are global hitman. We're a mod squad going after whoever Trump wants, taking out world leaders left and right, taxing everyone, including our allies. It's like we're a terrible friend to have right now, unless you're Israel. That's about the only country that seems to have gotten ahead in all this is Israel. Everyone else, it's like you're not getting anything from it. It really is a a complete role reversal for a country that for the better part of the 20th, 21st century paraded around with this immoral authority, this righteousness, this is the way. Follow us. We are the beacon of light, right? We like to cast ourselves in that role. And now we've done a complete 180 where instead we are mirroring and mimicking the tactics of authoritarian dictator murderous regimes. Like that's what America looks like right now to everybody else.
Yeah, and I even add the domestic things, killing protesters, oppressing protesters, using ICE as a military event in a sense to go after Americans, and terrorizing migrants, of course, as well. But if you take an objective look at America from the outside, I don't think people would recognize the country they want this to be. It is the country it is, but I don't think anyone wanted it to be this country. So I want to touch on Christy Nome and then get to your listings. They combine both. So Christy Nome, what do you think? What I mean, killing Alex Preddy, Renee Good, nothing. Terrorizing people, nothing. Going to daycare facilities, terrorizing families, nothing. But something happened. Trump goes, "You're gone." Now Mark Wayne Mullins in. What do you think?
I think it's this is how Trump operates right here. For the first time, he saw the someone in the went into the Oval and said, "Boss, you got to watch this ad," and it's the ad that Christy Nome filmed of her cosplaying Yellowstone, really on a freaking horse through Montana,
Right.
and said, "That's the $200 million ad campaign. It's a commercial for her," and that was it right there. It's like what? Like if you know one thing about Donald Trump, it's that it's all about Trump.
Mhm.
It is always all about Trump. He's okay with you being up front if you're defending him, but to put a 9-figure ad buy behind promoting not Donald Trump, not his policies, not protecting the border, but Kristi Noem front and center, like that's why she got 86 over there. It had nothing to do with Renee Good or her performance at congressional hearings or whether or not she's sleeping with Corey Lewis. He doesn't care about that stuff. Come on, it's Donald Trump. Like they got like read the Epstein files. He doesn't care about who's sleeping with who.
Right.
Uh, it's that someone had the audacity to go get a bunch of money and spend it on themselves and not. If those commercials had been Donald Trump front and center, she'd still be in the job right now.
That's a very interesting point. And that, what do you make of Senator John Kennedy? I watched that twice. That was really effective cross examination. Very like Southern law. Like, I'm just a Southern lawyer. I don't know what to go, but it seems like you may have just formed a company 11 days ago to give money to this. And I was like, wow. I'm like, that didn't seem like that was just organic. He's close to Trump.
No,
I have a feeling that
someone
that was something. Someone gave him tips.
listen.
He destroyed her.
I worked at the oversight committee for many years. So I have choreographed congressional hearings and literally scripted out who gets to ask what question when.
Ah,
That was planted. That was someone in the White House, very high up, got to Kennedy and said, "Hey, this is the line of question we'd like you to put in front of Gnome, because that's gonna be the final straw." Like this was a political assassination in broad daylight, if you will. Like it was someone at the White House got to him, fed them the questions, and he executed it flawlessly, I might add. Game recognizes game in this case. It's like, I've done that before. I know
He
exactly what happened there.
No, I mean, he's a lawyer. I think he's a Rhodes Scholar, I think, or went to. I mean, he's much smarter than he wants to pretend to be. When he went, as someone who's a lawyer myself, and I did try cases for 5 or 6 years. I was a lawyer. When he went back to, so the president told you that you could do these ads, and he went back a second time. I'm like, oh, you're dead, because I know, because he knows the answer. No one
Yes.
asks the questions like that when you don't know the answer. He knew the answers, and then he pressed a third time. I'm like, you're gone. Like, this
Yep.
is over. Only if it bothered Trump, and obviously it did, because in retrospect, I'm glad that you fill this in as someone who worked on House Oversight. This stuff is scripted. Everyone knows what's going on. He was given that information because he's not doing research to find out there was a company formed 10
No.
days ago that she gave the
They
money
don't
to.
they don't know that. It's like, no, this like congressional hearings are scripted as a WWE live event. Let me tell you, like it is
Ah,
that choreographed.
so
If you're doing it right, it is at least.
So last thing I wanted you to touch on your new thing, the list, because it's about who you hold accountable. And the point you were making is saying, I could not agree with more. Chrissy Nome still has to be held accountable for her
Yes.
crime. So tell us about the list a little bit.
Yeah. So, I started the Watchdog report overall just because I really felt like we were about to enter into this intense period of congressional oversight and investigations, especially if Democrats take back Congress. And there is this need for Congress to reestablish itself as a co-equal branch of government, as a check and balance on executive power. That's why it exists in the first place. And that's specifically why the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee exists, is to be that check and balance. And so, one of the things I've observed about the Trump administration is they truly believe that they'll do so much corruption, so much waste, so much fraud, so much abuse that you just won't be able to keep up. Like, you won't remember a year from now
Mhm.
that, on a random Wednesday in Washington, D.C., Judge Jeanine Pirro filed to try to have Steve Bannon's record expunged. Like, no one's going to remember that a year from now or
You're
care.
right.
You're not going to remember that Ed Martin was at the center of all the pay-for-play pardons that are going on. You're not going to
Mhm.
remember that lobbying group Ballard, where Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi used to work, is the go-between for a lot of no-bid contracts going out the door for DHS and ICE. So I came up with the list specifically, and it's something that I publish every Friday as part of the Watchdog report, to be that list. So that a year from now, we can look back and go, these are the people that need to be held accountable. You don't get to just leave exit stage left and not be held accountable for overt corruption. And isn't it convenient that this $200 million advertising campaign, ended up funneling through a company whose CEO is the spouse of Tricia McLaughlin, who was up until recently Kristi Noem's favorite propaganda spokesperson at DHS.
Mhm.
It's like, I know how this process works. I know how it's supposed to work. For a private company to get a no bid contract worth hundreds of millions of dollars, like, that's not an accident. That is corruption. That's taxpayer dollars that's being funneled to their friends and allies. And I'd actually love to know how much money was actually spent on advertising and how much was just
Ah,
pocketed by these people.
that is a
Because I
great
bet it's a lot.
that's a great point. And yeah, so again, Kurt's new Substack, the Watchdog Report, and he does the list every Friday, right? He said every Friday
Yep.
he does the list, every
Yep.
list. So he does it. It's great stuff. Before I let you go, where do you want people to follow you? Obviously, the Substack, the Watchdog Report. Where else can they follow you?
Yeah, obviously I'm on X at, my name, Kurt Bardella. I'm on all the things at Kurt Bardella on, whether it's Instagram, whether it's, X, whether it's YouTube, and yeah, I just started getting back out there on the cable news world. Just did Morning Joe yesterday.
Ah, cool.
Starting to get back out there in the world.
Well, Kurt, it's good to see you. Welcome to the hell that is known as Substack, and I love the live part. Everything else is like, you're like, why didn't anyone read this article? It's such a good article. That's what I mean by the
We
hell.
we missed you the other. I was in DC for Miles did that Defiance thing at National Press Club. And I was there with Waj and with Brian Karam, and we kept hoping to see you there too as a
I'm in
fellow
New York.
Nerd
I don't
Avenger.
really know Miles well, but he just did my show for the first time, and he's going to come back on. So if he does another one, I'd love to be a part of it. But you guys are all doing the fight. It's been going on for years. We did it the first time. Now we're back in the second time, and it's needed more now than ever because this guy is more unhinged and more dangerous than ever. He'll be a lame duck soon, but he'll still be a dangerous lame duck. Unlike
I'm
any.
going to tell you that this is a guy who doesn't look like he's going anywhere. By the way, you don't renovate your house and then leave it, a couple years later. So we'll
Yeah,
see
you're not
how it
gonna.
plays out.
Yes, cut the rope on the ballroom while you're leaving. No, he's never leaving, folks. So, all right, Kurt, have a great weekend. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Great to see so many great people there. Welcome aboard, and I look forward to chatting with everyone.